Okay, ladies, sorry for getting this video out later than I promised, but with the dance Saturday night and then the hike today, just took me a little bit longer than I wanted. So the video on ratios and proportions, go ahead and watch it until you get to about 7 minutes, and then they start looking at equations like this. And remember, they'll talk about cross multiplying, and there's nothing wrong with cross multiplying, except sometimes it makes your life a little easier, so a little harder, and I want to make your life easier. So take a look at this proportion right here. First thing we do, 6 over 15. Let's simplify that. So simplify 6 over 15. They both have a factor of 3, so I'm going to call this 2 and this 5. So I have this proportion right now, 8 over x equals 2 over 5. Okay, when you cross multiply, you would say 8 times 5 and 2 times x. But cross multiplying is a shortcut. What you're really multiplying by is the lowest common denominator, which in this case is 5 times x. So we would have 5x times the left-hand side equals 5x times the right-hand side. So when we simplify that, the x's over here cancel, and over here the 5's cancel, and I'm left with 5 times 8 equals x times 2. Which some people will cross multiply because they think it's a shortcut. But I can make problems that are a lot harder if you're cross multiplying and a lot easier if you're multiplying by the lowest common denominator. So from this point we get 40 equals 2x, multiply both sides by half or divide both sides by 2, and you get your final answer of x equals 20. Good? You can plug it back into the original equation to check, but there we go. Take a look at this next one. 4 over x equals 8 over x minus 3. Two ways to do that. If you're getting this idea of a common denominator, the lowest common denominator would be just the product of the two denominators, x times x minus 3. So if we multiply the entire equation by that, x times x minus 3 times the left-hand side equals x times x minus 3 times the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, we get those x's to cancel. On the right-hand side, we get the x minus 3's to cancel. I'm now left with this equation that says 4 times x minus 3 equals 8x. And again, because the lowest common denominator just happened to be the product of the two denominators, it looks like we cross multiplied. There is no such thing as cross multiplying. That's why I dislike it. I think you understand how to multiply by the lowest common denominator to clear a fraction. It'll always work. Distribute the 4, subtract 4x from both sides, you get negative 12 equals 4x. Divide both sides by 4 and you get x equals negative 3. Good? Let's try that exact same problem a different way. And that way would be to start out by saying if 4 divided by x equals 8 divided by x minus 3, then I can flip both sides, take the reciprocal of both sides, and they should still be equal. Try it with things that you know are true. If 2 equals 2, is it true that 1/2 equals 1/2? Or maybe even more obscure, if 2 equals 10 over 5, is it true that 1 over 2 equals 5 over 10? Should always be true. So some kids might want to flip this so that the x's are in the numerator. It makes it a little bit easier. Multiply by the lowest common denominator between 4 and 8. That would just be 8. So over here I would get 8 times x over 4 equals 8 times x minus 3 over 8. The 8's cancel on the right-hand side. 4 goes into 8 2 times. I'm left with 2x equals x minus 3. Subtract x from both sides, and I get x equals negative 3. The exact same thing I got before. So the takeaway, the reason I want to make this video was to remind you there is no such thing as cross-multiplying. All there is clearing a fraction, multiplying by the lowest common denominator. And if you get that idea, multiplying by the lowest common denominator works with proportions, the kinds of equations we were just looking at, but it also works with every other equation. So instead of trying to memorize a bunch of different things, just get the big idea. Multiplying by the lowest common denominator will always work, and it will always make your life easy. Okay, that was a short video, but that's all I got. Peace!